takes off. I hit this guy because he thinks that he's throwing at me. I get a pass interference penalty. And it was like, and everybody on the sidelines like, oh, new guy. New guy screwed up. Never wear these up.
No, there's no point. I mean,
Those are loser rings.
I mean, like, yeah, you lost, right?
Well, yeah, it comes with the you have to tell the story. There's like no way around it. You know, you have a championship ring. It's like there's no way around saying.
Well, and like people
well,
ask.
it's not a Super Bowl ring.
People,
but
yeah, people ask you, it's like, what is this? Oh, it's the AFC and NFC championship ring. It's like, oh,
right.
You guys made it to Super Bowl. Where's your Super Bowl ring?
Right. Oh yeah, that's
we lost.
That's why I have these.
First question.
Yeah.
Right. It's the first question. Or
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, it's a Super Bowl ring. Dang, you have Super Bowl rings." Like, well,
No, it's not.
yeah. So
I mean, still, what? Only 4 teams make it that far, right? And only one team.
Two.
only 2 make it this far every year.
Well, yeah, but they're playing each other. But only one team wins and makes the Super Bowl, and only one team gets a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
So only one team gets that ring a year.
2 get this ring a year.
Well, no, only
Do you
one
get a,
AFC.
Do you get an NFC championship ring and a Super Bowl ring?
If you win the Super Bowl, yes.
Really?
Wait, you get both, or
Yes.
it's only losers?
You will get both, from what I understand. I don't know. I never won. So
Yeah.
I don't freaking know.
I thought you would just get a Super Bowl ring.
I think you get both, but I'm not sure. Have to check on that.
We got a belt buckle too for winning the. It was pretty cool. We won when we won the West. We got a belt buckle for winning the West.
Just for winning the division?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
which
pretty cool.
was kind of cool.
Everybody got a belt buckle?
Yeah, like the whole team. Yeah,
That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
yeah.
Well, this is kind of awkward because
We didn't get anything.
we
for that.
have rings. I have the Niners ring, and Spock's got his 2 rings.
Right.
What do you got, Kenny?
You should actually be wearing one of these.
That's all right.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go, give
now I
him
feel
one.
bad. Did you see that look on his face?
It's all right.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
don't need
super
one.
judgmental look.
I don't need one.
Give him one
Well-
of your 2 rings.
Yeah.
Give him the one that you played with Randy Moss, because
Which one do you
Randy
hate more?
Moss is one of his favorite players.
All right.
Go
I
ahead.
do. I
Go ahead.
do. Whatever.
There we go. Taking off of the ring.
It's your fat fingers. Of course I have lotion, Spock.
We're live, boys. We're live. It's all right.
Jeez.
There we
Yeah.
go.
All right. Did Tom Brady have this ring on?
Says 16-0 on it from back when we only played 16 games back in the day.
So does that? Okay.
I don't think Tom wears that one because
He has 6 others that
Yeah.
are bigger.
yeah, I think he has 7, doesn't he? Because Tampa Bay.
He has 7.
He
Yeah.
has 7.
6, because Rob said that Steelers have 6 and Tom Brady has 6, but the Patriots only have 5.
Yep.
Patriots have 6 and Tom Brady has 7, so
Right.
they're tied for most all time.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of winning.
It's crazy how hard it is to get there.
Yeah.
I took it for granted super early in my career, where it was like first year in the league, I went to the AFC championship, lost to the Patriots, and then second year went to the Super Bowl, and then third year went to the second round of playoffs, and then never went back.
I think that's a super common story.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Because it was kind of like that. Well, I went in on the Eagles, who had just lost the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And that team was ridiculously stacked, but we ended up tons of injuries, whatever. We ended up going 6-10. And then, fast forward a couple years later, I was on that 16-0, 18-1 team. And then the next year went to the Cardinals, went to the Super Bowl, lost. And then it's like, oh, well, if you got it, you got it. And you're just this is going to happen,
Yeah.
And then just, no. I mean, we went to the playoffs the next year, and that was the last time I was in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
like 5 more years after that, yeah.
The playoffs are really hard to get to in the NFL.
Playoffs are hard.
And when you get there, it's like you don't have a series. It's like when you go home.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like
We've talked about that a lot too,
Yeah.
where it's like you can have the best team, but your players are hurt, like they can't play. To where it's just
like one of your guys just has a bad day. Like
Yeah.
like there's no like if the best player on a baseball team has a bad day, okay, he's got 4 other games to like come back and have a better day. Like if your quarterback has a bad day on a playoff game, you're done.
Yeah.
It's
That's
crazy.
what the saying in baseball is: the best teams make the playoffs, and the hottest teams make it to the World Series.
For sure.
Is that kind of does football? I feel like injuries play more of a part than in baseball of making it to the end.
You mean football?
Well, both, but yeah, football. If your 2-star players are hurt, that's gonna hurt you a lot more. In baseball, you don't lose your players as much.
Yes, agreed.
So it's football's more about like who's healthiest in the playoffs.
Yes,
Right. Injuries are more dangerous.
Yeah,
Because they're more serious.
Yeah,
And they happen all the time.
yeah, yeah. It's like every week. It's like, all right, who's going to play this week?
yeah.
But like to your point on the hottest thing, it's like that's what that year we had to play the Giants, and they were just getting hot at the end of the year, and they were up in the fourth quarter by 2 scores, and I mean, it was like the bomb to Randy Moss, and ended up winning, right? And then it's like you're 16-0. I mean, I always say like that might have been the worst thing that happened to us. Like if we had lost that game, it would have been, I mean, who knows, but could it have been like a wake up call?
Yeah.
And it's like that perfect season is now out of there, and like
Pressure's off a little bit.
And even though the Giants were getting hot, that was my point. And then they were just getting better and better right there all the way into the Super Bowl. And it's like, they're hot. We were on the perfect season thing. And it's like, which one is it better to be? Is it better to be the team that's getting hot at the end of the year, or the team that's been hot and now has the pressure of perfection?
I feel like the Patriots had way more pressure for that perfect season. Like Randy Moss and Tom Brady just broke the touchdown record, and it's like the Giants are there. They have nothing to lose.
Right.
They're supposed to lose, so it's like all the pressure was on you guys.
Totally, 100%. And then the next year, it was with the Cardinals, and we were getting hot at the end of the year. Like, it had been good at the beginning of the year. We had totally lumped. I mean, we had lost to the Patriots like 40-something to 7 or whatever, and we got smashed by the Eagles on Thanksgiving. I mean, we had a big dip like at the end of the year, and then turned it back up, ended up beating the Eagles in the championship game, and we got hot right at the right time, and just couldn't finish that game. But I mean, yeah, it's nice to be like the hot team underdog when you're coming out.
And it's almost like when you get that loss out early, like in the season. I remember my year at San Francisco when we went to Super Bowl, we lost to like Minnesota like week 3, and it was just like we shouldn't have lost the game. Like, we were a much better team, but like now it's just like, okay, if we want to do this, it's like go time, right? Like it's like time to like step up and roll and put a streak together, which we ended up rattling off like 10, and then we lost 1 at the end or whatever. And then like, yeah, I think we were like 14-2 or 13-3, one of the two. I'm not sure, but
it resets you though.
Yeah, it resets you for sure.
Yeah. It all that taking for granted stuff is now out the window. Because you remember, I mean, you're at the highest level, and even in like, you're talking about high school athletics, you can know that you're a lot better than the opposition, and it's like to have an undefeated season, it takes a different type of team, different type of mentality.
What was that team like? You have Tom Brady, one of the greatest football players of all time, quarterbacks of all time. You have Randy Moss. You have that defense. Like you were just naming like all the players that we had before we stepped in here, going undefeated, losing in a Super Bowl. What was that whole season like?
So I came in December. So I had been kind of on and off teams, Eagles and then Vikings, and then I was on the street for most of 2 full seasons, and just going to workouts. And I mean, you know the drill. You go into workouts, and when I first got let go so let's backtrack. My rookie year, I played the whole season, and then the next year I got let go by the Eagles. And in my mind, I was a little overconfident. I thought, oh yeah, I'll just get picked up, right? And no,
we all think that.
The reality,
it never happens.
Is so much different. And so I was like workout after workout after workout, and I went on a workout to the Seahawks like the next week, like the week after I got let go, and I thought, oh, got this. They're gonna bring me in, And no, they brought me in, and there was like 6 other tight ends there, including a practice squad guy. And they didn't sign anybody; they just kept a practice squad guy. And it was like, okay. And then another one like two weeks later, same thing. And it was the same story. It's like, oh, now we have some, we've seen you, you're on our list. Like, thank you for coming, type of thing.
You're on our short list.
You're on our short list. Yeah.
Fuck the short list.
How many times have you been told that? I know.
God.
And it was just over and over. I went on 6 that first year. And it was like, after the third one, I was like, oh my God, these are like pro days. This is like a combine. Like some of them you come in and you just run a little bit and then you do some routes, and blocking drills or whatever. And then some of them it's like bench press, max, 40-yard dash, like vertical jump. And
I never did any of those.
Oh, dude, the Broncos had us do the entire pro day. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not training for after I ran like my third 40 on one of these. I was like, I gotta get back and start training for 40s. Like it's because it's totally different. 40, it's like the first 10 yards of start is everything. So, anyways, so I was on the street coming off and ended up getting picked up in like week 13 with the Patriots, and they were 13-0. So it was week 14, I guess. Yeah, and they were 13-0, and you went in. I went in there on a Wednesday, and I was in good shape and everything, but I've been on the street, for a couple months already, and just going in, and you're talking about they already had 3 Super Bowls, just that squad basically, like that core squad. So you're going in and just trying to not stand out in a bad way. Like that's just don't screw up. Don't do anything really stupid. So the first day of practice, I was dressed in, I was coming from California, and I'm dressed in shorts and a little, long sleeve shirt or whatever. And the guys are like, hey, new guy, it's supposed to snow out there, right? And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. Like, and in my I was like, I'm tough guy.
I'm a tough guy.
Yeah.
Tough white guy. Come on now.
Everybody's got sweats on and everything. Go out there, and I was like, it's brisk, but dude, 5 minutes into warm-ups, and it was just like snowstorm, wind, everything, and I was like, And the tight ends coach, who I'm not gonna name because I don't like him, but he was like, you stupid fucker, like get back in there. Like sent me back in, and I'm just walk of shame back in the locker room and get some clothes on. So I immediately stood out as an idiot. But yeah.
Checks out. Checks out.
But yeah, I don't know. Just dug into the playbook and ended up playing in that game. And I think when I came in, there's so much when you come into a new place, no matter what, even if you come in an off season or whatever, there's so many new things. There's new faces everywhere. There's new playbook, new terminology, and not just new faces on the team, but new faces you don't know who to go to for what.
New process you have to learn, new training, new weight room, new training staff, cafeteria people, all that stuff you have to like learn and figure out.
Everything. And then on top of that, it's like you're categorizing things, and you're like totem polling, like who's makes decisions over who. And there's just so much that it was so overwhelming that it's just like, just focus on the smallest amount of what I absolutely have to learn in the next like few days. And then I just got thrown in the game because everybody got hurt all of a sudden. And so I got like thrown in the game, played like 32 snaps. And I'd been there for a couple days, so I mean, I think that it was you just focus on as little as you have to, and just put your blinders on and just go. And so that's kind of how I made it through that situation, I guess.
Yeah, when I would get pulled up to like not pulled up, but like brought into a team like midway through the season, happened to me a couple times. O-line coach would just be like, just learn this week's game plan. Just learn the plays. Like, don't worry about anything else. Like, don't worry about going back and doing installs. Just learn this week's game plan. So if you get thrown in there, like, you know what to do. Like, you hear a play call, like, make sure you go through the whole entire call sheet and make sure you know what to do on every single one of those calls.
And I was lucky because they basically just gave me the run game and like a couple of protections, and that was it. And they were like, we're just going to, if you go in, like, you'll be limited to this.
That's all we're going to do.
So just learn this and know the calls and know that. And so on top of that, everybody was trying to do everything they could to beat the Patriots, right? Because it was 13-0, and then we're playing a division rival too. So it was like the Jets come in, and they were doing this stupid like amoeba defense thing that lasted like all of 4 weeks or whatever, and where they were just jumping around before the snap, and then they would try and time it up and get into their alignments like right before. And so we did something that Tom would call 2 plays. He'd call a play to the right and a play to the left in the huddle, and then we'd go line up, and he'd wait for him to run to one side, and he'd be like, Sparrow, ready, we'll go. And so it was like you had to know what the play was of like that, and readjust. And if you're going to step with your left or you're going to step with your right, you kind of, you don't lean into it, but you kind of lean into it.
There's a little weight shifting of the ass cheeks and toes digging into the ground.
And it's like there's nothing else going on. I've been here for 2 days, right? So and so I think on the first play, I like hesitated. Matt Light runs into me and like and it runs into me. I kind of get a piece of the guy or whatever, and it's like we got a couple yards, so it wasn't like a disaster play. I didn't like totally screw up, but like that's not good. You can't hesitate. And I remember walking back to the huddle. He's like, "Come on, man!" But after that, it was all right.
I'm while you guys are talking about this, like trying to get to the playbook, I'm like, we can get called up and literally thrown out there, and you don't have anything to learn. It's just like fastball, or oh hey, this is the scouting report for this pitcher or hitter, which you get at every game. Like it's a little bit different. There's nothing that a baseball player has to learn. Maybe like the signs from the dugout or the signs from like the third base coach, but nothing like learning a new playbook, new terminology. 53 guys on the team. You're not gonna meet them all or remember anybody's name, but the only thing that matters is like your specific like coach, the other tight ends, like the lineman coach, quarterback coach. Really doesn't matter anything else, right?
And
that's what matters the most,
especially when a quarterback like Tom and like Phil, right, where they're so over the offense. They can pull something out of their ass that happened 3 years ago in the middle of a game and be like, hey, this is what we're doing, and be like, bro, I wasn't even here for that. Like, I've never heard that word before in my life. And so it's like, a lot of that stuff takes a lot of reps and a lot of time to like gain that like knowledge from your quarterback too, because they just have like a Rolodex in their head and they can pull anything out at any time because they have that free reign because they're such good quarterbacks like that.
100%. So then the next year when I got let go by the Patriots after a couple weeks, and then I went into Arizona a few weeks later, and it's Kurt Warner, and Kurt wants to run his offense. He's exactly like that. So he's going to pull something out of his back pocket, and you better be on. You better know what he's saying.
Yeah. So you have to be on his page, not just the coach's page, right?
Oh, yeah. Correct. And he liked to do, God, what do we call it? Man, now I feel old. Like I can't remember any of the terminology.
CTE.
But we were running. I mean, he'd run the no huddle, right?
Yep.
And we'd run the no huddle, and he had a couple of things that weren't even on. They gave me a no huddle like cheat sheet, and they were like, "Oh, but he might do this." And that's not on there. And I was like, oh, geez, like, are you serious? And it was the same situation. I came in on a Wednesday, ended up playing. Guys were banged up. And then I ended up in. And they weren't like, oh, you're just going to be the run game and a couple of pass protections.
You had to be prepared
they were like,
for everything.
You might go in the no huddle.
Yeah.
and you're staying in there. You can't just run off and switch.
Right. And here's your cheat sheet. Like, oh, and he might do something that's not on there. Like, but okay, cool.
How cool is it, though, when you get to the point where you're the guy that you know what the quarterback is saying?
Oh, that's
you know what I mean? Like, that's like, I was with Phil for 5 years, so like, he couldn't really surprise me with anything, but playing next to everybody and then like hearing it and then directing everybody, it's just like makes you like feel validated and feel like, okay, like this is really cool.
Well, that's one of the only reasons why I was able to hang around the NFL for as long as I did, because I could fall into that role. Because I was never the fastest guy or the strongest guy or whatever. I wasn't a draft pick or whatever. Yep. So you just had to get it done and find other ways to make it through, you know, or to whatever, add some value. But yeah, So in that first game with the Cardinals, he pulled one of those out. I had just learned that morning the signal, and he gave us a signal, and I ran. It was a receiver screen, right? Like a quick screen to the receiver, and I'm supposed to block his man, like number one out there. And I go out, and I saw the signal. I go out, hit the shit out of the dude, and the receiver ran a go route, ran the wrong thing. Kurt throws for the screen. Receiver takes off. I hit this guy because he thinks that he's throwing at me. I get a pass interference penalty, and it was like, and everybody on the sidelines like, oh, new guy, new guy screwed up.
Come on, idiot!
I was like, I think I got it right.
But you were right.
I was right.
Yeah. That's a good feeling too.
Yeah. So one time I thought I was wrong, but I was actually right.
Yeah.
That was the only time.
That's
the only time
sweet.
I've ever been wrong.
And then in the meeting room, it's like you may look like an idiot on TV, but everybody else knows that the other guy messed up, which is way better.
It was validating in the meeting room. That's what matters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
that's what matters. Yeah, for sure.
Because there's nothing like a Monday afternoon when you guys are doing like full team film and one of your bad plays comes up on the screen. It is the worst feeling in the world. You become this small in your seat, wanting to hide. Like, it's just like you let every single person in that building down, and you're the worst human ever.
Yep.
And I'm sure you got it from Bill too. Like,
oh, so this is coming from the head coach. It's not coming from your own coach,
or
full
like
team.
offense
OC,
coordinator or something
yeah.
like that, where it's like the whole offense is in there. Like usually they'll put like a few plays of like good and bad on like the team meeting, and then you'll break into your offense and defensive meeting room, and then watch a few plays, and then go into your O-line room. So you want to like get into the point where you're not one of the like really bad plays in the team meeting room, but then you're also not one of like the semi bad plays in the offensive meeting room. And then your bad plays just in the tight end or O-line
Just
room.
in the individual
right? So
room,
like
yes.
you can deal with all your boys that are
Right.
like in your same meeting room, but like if the receivers are watching you mess up, you're like, damn it, dude.
Right.
Or like the D-line, like this guy sucks, you know? Like, man, it's horrible.
Super humbling.
Oh my gosh.
And that humble pie in New England was like, that was the Patriot way, was humble pie.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, he didn't put highlights up. He put lowlights up.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just a few. It was like all of everybody's screw ups, and he's going to call you out in the team meeting in front of everybody. And he really doesn't care how many times you get that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
He
don't
really doesn't
do
care.
it again.
Don't do it again.
Yeah.
Do your job,
So,
right? That's your
Patricia-
thing. Do your
Exactly.
job.
Yeah. So we had Patricia in Detroit, who was a Belichick guy.
Right.
And then I had Joe Judge in New York. So I had like 3.5 years of Belichick like coaches, right? Belichick. Patricia used to put our one-on-ones on a loop in the cafeteria. And it would be like Wiggins versus Robinson, Wiggins L, Robinson W. In the cafeteria.
Oh, it was
all
marked-
day.
It was marked up.
Yeah,
and
like
lost. Just L.
all day. Like it would be on a loop. So you just have to relive it the day before, like practice like the win or loss. I'm like, come
So you
on,
just
dude.
have to watch getting beat all day.
Yeah.
And
Or
everybody would watch you getting beat.
everybody in the cafeteria who's eating and watching the TV, like there'll be one-on-one like pass routes, one-on-one pass blocking routes, and all like special teams routes and all that. Or
Wow.
like
This
on
was
a
in
loop.
Detroit?
Yeah, on a loop in the
How'd that
cafeteria.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, I think we won. 8 games in 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
That's a lot of humble pie there.
Gosh.
Yeah, Kenny didn't win too many games there for a couple years. No. Spock, you won a lot of games though.
Early on, yeah. But to your point, like you never know when or if you're ever going to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after we lost the Super Bowl with the Cardinals, I mean, everybody was spitting out like the that hangover thing, the Super Bowl hangover thing for whoever loses, you know. Or at the time, I don't know what the stat is now, but at the time it was like it was almost 80% of the team that loses the Super Bowl didn't make the playoffs the next year. So it's like that's what you're up against now, you know, coming out. And we ended up making the playoffs and winning a playoff game, and so that was like that felt like
An
a small
accomplishment
victory
too, yeah.
by itself, you know. So but after that, I didn't make it back to the playoffs. I played on, you know, three more seasons, 3 more teams, and it was like 5-11, 2-14, and then the Jaguars when they were in the dumps. So,
Yeah.
What are those teams like in the NFL when you have, Kenny, you've kind of talked about it a little bit, when you have 3, 4, 5 games left and you know you're not making it to the playoffs? Like, some guys are trying to set themselves up for next year. Some guys are trying not to get hurt. They're trying to get bonuses for that year. What's it like on a team like that where you know you're not making it to the playoffs? You're still trying to get paid. You're trying to get a check, and you're not trying to get hurt. But somebody like you, because you and I have talked about this in the gym, to where it's like Sunday you get in 3 or 4 or 5 car accidents, and you have to show up and be ready to work that week because you have to prove your worth still being on the team. Not like somebody else who has a guaranteed contract. They can sit in the training room all week and they're still going to play, still going to get paid. What's that like for those last 5 weeks of the season?
Right. Yeah, so I mean, if you're not, one of those made type of guys, which there are very few of those, but if you're not one of those, you have to be at your best pretty much all the time. And so that kind of goes across the board, but I think it gets exemplified or, under the microscope even more if you're in a situation like that, where when things are going bad, everybody's on watch. Like just a little bit more, everybody's on watch. So you're playing for professionalism, you're playing for pride, and you really kind of gotta dig deep, because there's no carrot at the there's no carrot at the end of the stick there, as far as the winning goes. You're not going to make the playoffs. So and if you're on like a 1-year contract, or you're on a not a guaranteed contract, there's no guarantee anyway. So you're kind of bringing that anyway. So it's a little bit more of the same. But yeah, you're definitely on watch. Like when I was on the Rams, I mean, like I said, we were 2-14, right? So we knew for a while. I think
After the third week,
coach kept coming back,
the
like
worst.
week 9, week 10. He was like, so technically we can still, like, we went out, we can still make it.
We're not mathematically eliminated yet.
And we're like, yeah, but and we were 1 and like 9 at that point. So it's like, okay, yep, let's go.
Hoorah.
But we knew we were out for a while. So then after the season, head coach, offensive coordinator, tight ends coach, general manager, all told me that, hey, Stephen, you were able to do a lot of things for us this year. We appreciated everything. You were versatile. You could play here. You could play here. We like you. Want to bring you back. So we'll bring you back. If I'm here, you'll be here. But they all got fired the next day.
Hell yeah.
so everybody that was in your corner is no longer there to even stick up for you.
Right.
That's tough.
That's how you draw it up.
Yeah, football and baseball are so different that it's I mean, it's easy to compare like the mindset and like being an athlete and stuff, but like the day-to-day it's different. Like we can have 2 weeks left of the season to where you're not going to make the playoffs. You're just kind of trying to get your numbers there, trying to not give up runs, but it's every day. You guys still have Sundays. You're playing on TV. The crowd's still there. You're still hyped, even though you're on a losing team. You're not going to make the playoffs. You like the atmosphere is still kind of crazy. Like the A's game.
You mean with football or with baseball? You mean
football? Like on Sundays, you guys still have like that playing on Sundays atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Like one day a week. Like the A's, they're not making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Fans don't show up. Like the players know that they're not making the playoffs. They're already planning their vacations after the season. But then you're still trying to get a job for next year. Like you're still not trying to give up. But it's hard to get like up for those games at the end of the baseball season. You just want it to be over. Like football season, I'm sure it gets to the point where you want it to be over.
Oh, definitely.
But Sunday, it's different. Like you guys run out on that crowd still. It's like still a big deal versus
there's
baseball.
Still a ton of adrenaline and energy, because I mean you're also like your physical well-being is at risk.
Yes.
Like is at significant risk at all times once you step on that field. So I think it's just that aspect of it brings the energy up every time. If you're taking plays off or whatever, your risk of injury, skyrockets.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody ever really takes play off. Like any professional athlete takes a play off, but like the locker room and stuff is
I guess
It's gonna be a
the
lot
mental
different.
edge, I guess, is what I mean. But
Yeah. To where like we're not feared for getting like run over and getting hurt. Like we're just
Doesn't happen as often.
No. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because they used to, catchers used to get run over a little bit, but now not anymore. You're
Gotten away from
protected.
that now, right?
I've had week 17, like both teams are eliminated, and like D-line like, hey, chill, like, hey, just like no cutting, like let's stay up, like, and like it's kind of like they were going easy on us, like, but we hung like 40, like 30 on them or something like that, and it was just like he's like let's just get out of here. I got a plane ride tomorrow to go home. Like I'm not trying to get hurt or get injured and have to stay in Green Bay.
I get that aspect of it. However, I cut guys in practice. Like I'm just trying to keep a job here, bro.
No doubt. And that's what I said too. And that's what I was like. I was like, I'm trying to keep a job. I'm trying to play next year. And I'm like, I don't care about you.
Right.
And
sorry.
But, yeah.
You should just tell them, all right, well, make sure I look good.
Yeah. Why don't you just fall on your back every time, and then I'll just jump on top.
I'll just
of you.
punch you and I'll just hold you right here on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. That's it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you chill. Okay, no spin moves, no swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just run straight and
Kiss
stop.
my ass.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win.
So going back to back to your first couple years, made to the Super Bowl, and you had two of arguably top 10 quarterbacks of all time. Like, you got to throw Kurt Warner in there, especially his story, right? And then you got Tom Brady, arguably number one. What are those two like? Like, what are like the similarities that they have where you can see why they're both great, and then what makes them so much different too?
Yeah, that's a good question. Both perfectionists, definitely different personalities, but both perfectionists. Tom was definitely, I mean, everything good that they say about him, like first one in, last one to leave, type of, he's not like waiting till the last person, but I mean, he's that first one in, last one to leave. He puts the work in. He's always trying to improve, and it's always consistent. It's always consistent, always consistency. He's never going to settle. You know what I mean? So I think that's, and just that whole humble pie thing. When I was at other places, I think it was a top-down thing too, because when I was at other places, if a ball is a little off, right, and you juggle it, or even if you like catch it twice or something, or if you miss it, which I don't drop passes.
Yeah,
but
right.
If you miss
Spach
a ball
was
or something,
what we called a blocking tight end.
that could catch, but I wasn't running. I wasn't out running anybody.
Spach,
right.
You're white. All right, put your hand in the dirt and then block the DN.
Hey,
please.
that doesn't stop you from being a good tight end or a good athlete. But anyways, no. But if a ball's a little off, it's like you got to catch that ball. Like period. End of story. That's you. But in New England, it's Tom, I need a better ball here. And the OC would say it. It was McDaniels, or Bill would say it. I mean, without hesitation. Need a better ball than that, Tom. And he'd be, yes, sir. That was it. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, shit.
It's just like extreme
that's
ownership.
Just anybody. Yeah.
Everybody just took ownership for everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. That's that Patriot way thing. That's that humble pie thing.
Do you think Tom
those years
was always like that, or do you think that's kind of like the whole Patriot way, Belichick, like from the top down, from Kraft? Do you think that's kind of what made Tom great, or do you think that Tom would have been great wherever he played?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think he fit into that system, and it was kind of give and take on both sides. I think we've seen them struggle a little bit since he's hasn't been there, and he won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, but that team was absolutely stacked. I mean, that team was ready to win.
Right?
Yep.
He went there because he was going to try to make one last chance, and that was the best, where his skills and his like way of playing would have fit in the best to where they could make that run and play.
And there was no taxes in Florida.
Smart.
That helps.
Smart. And then what about Kurt? Would Kurt just like like try to outsmart everybody? Was he more talented than Tom? Like, who do you think was more talented?
That's hard to say. But Kurt, perfectionist too. So putting the time in, always in there. But he would run through film. I sat and watched just film with him, or sat while he was watching film and just kind of, dude. And he's just like, he just get a quick look and then he snapped to the next play. So he was all about like pre-snap reads. He wanted to get the ball out quick, and he was like, recognize the defense, go. So he just kind of thought differently. He was ahead of what was about to happen, all the time. So super smart, master of his craft, like mentally, and he would get the ball out quick. And then after he was gone there in Arizona, we just struggled. And it makes you realize how vital it is to have somebody like that at the helm. It is, that is the most important, I could say, maybe like a starting like high level pitcher or something like that maybe has that same type of maybe,
but they're not up there every day though. That's the thing. That's the difference.
It's every single day.
Every single locked in. Yep.
And so, the difference having that type of guy and then not having that type of guy, you're searching, and that's why it's such a big deal for NFL organizations to find that career organizational leader and quarterback like that. And
you're lucky when you get to play with them too, because it makes your job so much easier.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like they take so much load on themselves that they don't have to like rely on other people to like make up for their mistakes, or not make up for mistakes, but just like they don't have to. They want everything on their shoulders, so they take the air out of everybody else. Which
but at the same time, you better keep up.
No doubt,
because they're at the highest level.
No doubt.
Yeah,
so
you
got to step your game up.
They're gonna do their job. They're in there working hard. They're gonna take responsibility for every situation that they can take responsibility, and if you can't keep up, you can't play. Like, this is all there is to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had the luxury of playing with Phil and Stafford, which those two are both very, I would say Stafford is probably one of the most physically talented quarterbacks that I've been around, like with arm talent and everything like that. But Phil was just on a whole different level, like mentally. And knew everything, knew every position, knew everywhere they needed to be, knew offensive line calls in the run game, all that kind of stuff. Like we would be on the way home from a plane, like on the way home from a game on the plane, he's doing the blitz tape for the Wednesday meeting on the way home from the plane. Like wow. He was unbelievable. Like he didn't let the coaches do like his like cut ups and stuff. He made his own cut ups and did all his own stuff. Like that was his offense, and he was not letting anybody else tell him what to do.
That's pretty impressive.
It was really cool to be around. And like as my time progressed with him, it was really cool that he relied on me to be like that like barrier between him and the O-line. Where it was like, yeah, I wasn't like the highest paid guy in the room, but he could trust me the most because I've been there the longest. My last year there, I was the longest tenured O-lineman in the room, which was like really cool because after being cut 30 times, like it's really cool. And then he would be like in meetings and be like, "Hey Kenny, do you see it like this?" And I'm not even playing center, I'm playing guard. Like he usually talks to center like that, but he talked to me like that, and that's what made it like that validated me, because that was one thing I knew I could do, is just know what to do and be in the right place at the right time. It wasn't going to be flashy or anything crazy, but he like had my respect, or I had his respect, which was like meant the world. And to earn the respect from a guy like that, or like a guy like Tom or a guy like Kurt, like that was like my greatest accomplishment in football.
Oh, that's big. And that's what makes an offense go.
Right.
Is having that connectivity.
Yeah, for sure. Even though, my last year in LA, we were all right, but every other year we sucked.
Or just a bunch of ridiculous athletes.
Yeah, exactly. Or just really, or just a bunch of freak athletes. You just tell them what to do and they just execute it perfectly.
So what do you think is more important, or what would you choose if you had to pick Amazing head coach or amazing quarterback?
Quarterback.
Quarterback for sure. What about you, Spock? What do you think? Had to choose. Can't go both. You know, that you can say they go hand in hand. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, all this stuff. But it's like, what do you think needs to be at the top of their game to have success?
I think that Bill Belichick is the best coach I've ever been around. But having said that, to your point, I mean, if you don't have a high level quarterback,
Can't win.
So
Can't win
much
without a quarterback.
harder.
Because the coaches can't
To
play.
win.
No.
Right? They can set you up as good as they possibly can. Pitching coach can help us out, give us the best scouting report. If the player doesn't execute on the field, doesn't matter how great the game plan was. Like, the coach is going to take as much responsibility on for not having his players prepared. You hear that all the time. Head coaches say, "Oh, we just weren't prepared. I have to take responsibility." But if you have a good quarterback out there, or you have a good, point guard in basketball, whatever it is, somebody like Michael Jordan, who's your coach on the field, I feel like that takes a lot of the kind of like stress away from the head coach, because it's got to be hard as a head coach. They can't play. They're sitting there and they don't have the ability to be out there on the court or on the field.
Yeah, coaches coach, players play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as much as it helps to have a coach that'll take responsibility and all that, the preparation thing that's real. And I'm not saying you can't. I wouldn't say you can't win with a great quarterback, but you better have Ray Lewis on defense
And 15 other dudes that are beasts
Correct.
around him.
Yeah. So I would say, out of that question, quarterback or head coach, if you want an elite one, I would say quarterback edges that.
I mean, with the Ravens team, Trent Dilfer was just the, game manager, don't make a mistake. And then you had, when the Bears were really, really good, they had good defense. They had Rex Ryan,
Rex Grossman.
not Rex
Ryan.
Ryan.
I thought you were
Rex Ryan was the
saying,
head coach, right? Rex Grossman. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say McMahon, way back in the
way back.
85.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So 85, the best defense, one of the best
You could
teams
do it.
of all time. It's
Yeah.
just but I feel like those guys they were in that spot and they were good because of them also. They were in the meeting rooms, probably they were one-on-one with the head coach. They knew exactly what to do. It wasn't just they sucked and the defense was really good, right?
No, they had their own qualities. They were gonna get it done how they had to, But we're not gonna argue. Trent's not gonna come in here and argue that he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe at Fresno State.
Fresno State player.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
So did you guys play together at Fresno State one
No.
year, or
Nope.
you left and Kenny came in?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, you last year was 05?
Graduated 05. 04 was my last season. Yeah.
Okay, so my first season was 06.
Yeah, so
Did you
1 year
guys know each
separate.
other from when you were at Fresno State? Did you know of him?
I would always see him working out at the stadium and everything, during the season with
Long locks.
yeah,
flowing.
long hair and all that kind of
I
stuff.
heard you had dreads.
Yeah, that was a short time.
Dreads
But
and
yeah.
college.
Wait, was it real dreads, or you just didn't brush your hair in a while?
They were real dreads. Both? Can we say both?
That's gross. That's gross. That's gross. This probably stinks so bad.
One day you wake up and you're like, why does my hair look like this? So you cut it off.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Good idea.
So Spock now and Spock then, would you say two completely different guys?
I think everybody grows and matures in
Get
their
a
own
few
ways.
drinks in them.
Yeah, everybody grows and matures in their own ways. I didn't drink back then, so
There you go.
no. I mean, father and professionally now. I think that just it changes your priorities.
Yeah. And you were, how many brothers did you have? You were one of
Oh, me growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8th of 11 kids. Yeah, the 7 boys in my family. So I
7
got
boys.
6 brothers.
So
yeah.
you had 6 brothers, and you're one of 11.
Correct. Yeah.
What was that like growing up?
Wild. Never a dull moment. Yeah.
All
Shoot.
athletes too, or
Many.
mix?
Yeah. My sisters did not play sports, but yeah, most of my brothers did. So, actually, one of my oldest brothers, Jeff, was a walk-under in the Freedom Bowl game in the early '90s for Fresno State, and then my brother Danny played at a Division III school in Minnesota, so he played football in college as well. And then my younger brother Kevin walked on at Cal Poly. Earned a scholarship there and played at Cal Poly. So got a few other athletes. Yeah,
all football. So pretty big family size wise too, right?
Turkey bowls in Thanksgiving growing up was probably
turkey
legit.
Bowls still legit.
Legit.
Still do it Fridays after Thanksgiving.
Oh heck no!
So did kind of like the competition start young, and then you just kind of took it into your professional career? Oh, yeah. You got any stories that you can tell about brothers beating you up or playing, backyard football?
Me and my brothers, it was front yard. So where we grew up, we had a big yard in the front. So that was the football field. Like that's what it was. We knew where the end zone. We knew where the end zones were. We knew where the lines were. If anybody's arguing, it's like you know better than that. Shut up. Like, I mean, we had all the rules for we had a whole league set up where we were acting out different teams and I mean, we'd get 1 or 2 games in a day, switching off who was on offense, who was on defense, but still playing on these imaginary teams. It's like it was hot. The competition was hot, and then me and 1 or 2 of my brothers would play our buddies from down the street, and their brothers had similar ages and stuff.
It would be the spot team against
whoop the shit out
of them. It would go off, man. We would, they never beat us.
Yeah, we used to do that.
It was
too.
close.
We used to do that too. We had a little group of kids that were on the street, but we played on the asphalt, so we were tough. And we during Super Bowl Sunday, we chalked out the whole entire street, drew a whole football field. Nice. It was sweet, bro. And I was definitely leading receiver. My brother was a quarterback.
You a receiver?
Yeah,
so
bro.
There was no athletes out there.
Okay. No, yeah. He says he has better hands than you too, Spach.
How was your kickoff return in the NFL?
Okay. I do have a 22-yard kick return in college.
Nobody cares about college. You don't get paid. Well, you didn't get paid. They get paid now.
They do now.
Yeah. Couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
How would that have changed your college career? Because we talked about this.
Dude, I would have bought so many shoes in
that. He says,
I played at Fresno State, man. I wouldn't have made any money.
Well, no, okay, but let's just say that you. Let's just say that you were.
By the way.
Let's just say that you would have got paid to be in college. Do you think that would have changed your mindset? Because Kenny said that, he still would have showed up. He still would have played because he feels like he was. He said that he went to college to play football, not to go to school. Would that change your mindset? Would you have been a little bit more, kind of relaxed? You're already making money, or would you still have that hunger to get to the NFL to prove something?
Well, I think what it might have done, getting to the NFL for me was not. It might sound cliche or something, but it really wasn't really about the money. It was just a childhood dream, and I just wanted to play in the NFL, and that was it. That was all I ever thought it through. But I think if I was making more income in college, what it might have done was helped me to have a little bit, or forced me to have a little bit better of financial know-how. Because that was one of the things that got me into what I'm doing now, was when I first made the Eagles, and I was making money. I hadn't really thought that through, and I didn't have a plan, and I didn't have financial education, and it was just, that was like a big slap in the face, or it's like getting thrown into the ocean all of a sudden, and not really knowing how, to swim, or I was dog paddling. So that was kind of what inspired me to get financially educated, and the more I got into that, and the more that I learned about that, the more inspired I was to do that. So I think that may have had, I don't know, may have had a different effect on me if I had been already earning money in college.
Just jump started the process earlier than it did when you were in the NFL. It would jump started when you were in college instead of later in life.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
I mean, me too, probably, because
would have had a better plan.
Yeah, just like you, I didn't grow up with any money. I thought getting a $600 scholarship check was I'm rich.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
I'm loaded.
I have a bank account.
Yeah, right. Yeah, And then it was like the 14th of the month, and I have $7 in my checking account. I'm like, all right, can't put gas in my car for the rest of the month.
Eating Doritos for breakfast.
Sheesh. It was peanut butter and jelly on graham crackers. That's what I would do.
That works too.
That was my
Dang,
go-to.
you had peanut butter? You must have been rich.
I know, dude.
Jeez.
My roommate in college, his mom would load us up like first of the semester and just like Costco, just like dump our house with like stuff, which was like awesome. We had like
Lucky.
500 boxes of mac and cheese, like. But then you just didn't have the milk or the butter or stuff to put in it, you know? Like, dang it. Yeah. Just water and the cheese powder in there, you're good to go.
Grinding.
Look at us now, you know? Sitting here doing a podcast.
I get to put milk in my mac and cheese
No
now.
doubt.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So what are some things now that you're trying to instill in your boys? Because you have, 3 boys, athletes playing sports. What are some things that you're trying to help them with that you might not have had? Do you kind of want them to struggle to figure it out on their own because that's how you became successful? Or are you going to try to help them out more than you had when you were growing up?
That's that fine line, that's that fine line that you're trying to walk. How do you support your children and also allow them to, grow through their mistakes, and grow through your help? Like, where is that line? Where do you guide? Where do you hold back? So I think that's a day-to-day, week-to-week, moment-to-moment thing. Because
everybody always says, "Oh, I want my kids to have it better than me," but it's like you are where you are because of the things that you went through. So it's like, how do you manage that and try to get your kids to be better than you? Because they have to kind of went through the same things that you've went through in order to get to where you are and ultimately be better.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm learning. Being a father, and I feel like I'm just gonna continue to learn being a father. I don't think that's something that you like figure out.
I got it all figured out.
Yeah, maybe that's something you figure out. It's not something I figure out.
Kenny's got really low expectations.
Yeah, real low expectations.
I think it depends. I think everybody learns differently, so it's really getting to know the individual. And so I've got 3 boys. They all have different personalities. They all learn differently. They all cope with things differently. They cope with success differently. They cope with failure. They cope with challenge differently. Some of them, one of them might process things mentally, and want to hear it over and over and over and over and over. One of them quickly goes, X equals Y. Not going to do Y anymore. Going over here, and it's everybody is different, and they're growing at different rates. So it's like my boys are all big, but some of them's tall, some of them's not as tall, some of them are a little bit more. I was always like that big lanky, no fast twitch when I was growing up. You have to, I had to catch up to that, and so I got one that's built just like that, and one that's just he's got those fast twitch. So it's as an athlete, and then as a personality, on their intelligence side, people have different levels of intelligence or different types of intelligence, and so I think it's just to me it's a situational thing, and I want them to face challenge. I think that's kind of the big picture is you want to see them face challenge and understand how to overcome it. How to face it, how to take it, how to overcome it, and then how to deal with failure or things not going your way. Then on the other side, how to deal with things when they do go well, because that's a whole nother challenge. So I'm still figuring it out. Yeah. Do you keep stuff away from your kids? If I think to an extent you do, or you help them learn how to earn it.
Yeah, that's the key. It'll help them, because they're gonna have everything that we didn't have growing up. My kid already has way more shit than I've already had. He has 5 pairs of shoes. I got 1 pair of shoes. You know, like just like one thing like that, right? Like I had 1 pair of shoes. I wore to everything, and he has his Nikes, he has his Jordans, he has his Crocs. Like, all right, like relax. But like that's just one thing, you know. Like, how do you get him to realize that like the stuff that we have isn't normal, and like you have to work for this stuff? And how do you get him to realize that it's just not like, oh, we're not just swiping a card, or like there's work that kind of came from this. Like there's somebody sacrificed, like me or your mom sacrificed so you can have these things, and you're going to have to sacrifice if you want things as well. And that's the kind of like, my kid's 3 and he doesn't know what the word sacrifice means, but like, how do you instill that from like day one? It's like not struggle, but like the challenge in being a parent, right?
Just only give them broccoli until they're making money,
right?
And paying the rent.
Yeah. It's going to put his ass to work. Start breaking some leaves or something.
Yeah, it changes you for sure as a parent. But then it's almost easier to get your child to be good because they look up to you and they knew that you were always there, right? Like if each of you tells your boys, this is what it takes to get to the NFL, they're gonna listen because they see daddy in the NFL. Like, even though everybody listens to their dad,
you like to think
up
that.
to a certain age.
Yeah, for sure.
To where, but it's like, you know, like some random high school coach, it's like, oh, you didn't play in the NFL like my dad, I'm only gonna listen to him. So it's like kind of like a fine line of like making them coachable at the same time, coachable in life, like not just sports. They might not even like the same sport that you played, but it's like that kind of like that growth mindset in everything, right?
Just don't want him to be a dickhead, you know? Just like gonna have to humble him hard, I feel like, or humble them hard.
I think boys, more than anything, will learn by example. So I think that if we're doing our best impression of what we want them to be like, then they'll pick it up.
A reflection of you.
That's how I was. That's how I was. I learned by example too. Like I was a little bit different because I did the opposite of my dad, which was good because I saw what was really bad and I didn't want it, and so I just did the exact opposite. And that's so like learning by example would be like, I definitely did that for sure. And I can see how boys are going to be, that's the kind of way they're going to learn more than just like somebody telling them what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful stuff, man.
I'm excited to be a dad though. Like for like the future and like the next, like it's going to be a roller coaster. I'm pumped. I'm ready for it.
It's the best, dude.
That's the whole point, right?
A lot of good times.
There's like a lot of hard times and like that one little thing that they say or that they do, and it just makes it all better, right?
That's it. Yep.
Now we're getting all sappy.
No, you guys got a lot of good times ahead of you too.
Shoot, man, Spach. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the stories. Thanks for last night. A little WWE action. Ringside. Slapping hands with the just best of the best. Like that was sick.
Dude, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, we've gone to like 10 of them by now, but this was Tyson's first one.
Shoot, I thought it was cool. Like, you know, like the main event, like dude wins his little match, which like it is
pretty big deal.
Yeah, pretty big deal. It's not like they're not really fighting, but the stuff that they're doing is real. Like all the flips, all that. Like you can see that it's, you know, they're not really fighting, but like the like straight entertainment.
That's what it is.
It's the whole point. And then it's like us yelling. You feel like, even though like I'm not a fan, like I didn't know, like I'm like a fan now, but like us yelling and like participating is part of the entertainment.
Yes,
100%.
And you see that they're like feeding off of it. They see the crowd going, and they'll milk it a little bit more to get the crowd into it. So the crowd feels like they're actually part of the show. That's what I noticed the most last night. It was sick. The
live events is the best, and the house shows that aren't necessarily on like. When you go to the pay-per-view stuff, they're on a schedule. It's a little bit different. They've got the TV stuff going on, you know. So that's a little different. When you get a nice, and there's nothing like going to those live shows, those home shows, and there's more crowd interaction. Like they have a little more flexibility in what they can do and stuff, and it just feels more.
Siri,
cares, mind your own business. God.
Jeez. Oh yeah, but it was sick. Like at the end. like the main event, the dude walks over and just like shakes all of our hands, like just goes straight to Spach, like, you know, high five and a hug, and comes over. It's like
Spach's
That's
the
my
man.
guy,
That's
dude.
why.
Seth
That's what I
freaking
was-
Rollins, bro.
Seth, dude, that was. I like the dude that he fought a lot better though, with his tiny balls. And the crowd just starts tiny balls, and you see his face like, no, massive, massive.
They're massive.
Then he takes his shirt off. I have massive balls. It's like kind of corny, but I
No
loved every
doubt,
second
yeah.
of it.
Oh,
Like,
that's what it is. It's
For
all
sure.
corny and
Yeah.
it's all fun. Yeah.
just get to nerd out a little bit.
For sure.
Got to be a NARP for a night.
Narps.
I loved it.
Glad you guys enjoyed it. We'll do it again.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is sweet.
Good
We'll do
times.
it. We'll do it like 5 more times. So,
Awesome. I'm
On the
in.
golf course next.
I'm in.
ooh, sunny side.
Oh,
Let's do it.
I'm so bad. But yeah. I'm done. All right. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff.